4,755 pounds as you see it here today, with basically every upgrade available on this thing. A Rockwood 2104S here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. This is for folks who want something high class and retirement grade, but you don't want something that's like 45 feet. If you're looking to tow small and do it all, that's who this RV is for right here. Now, everything in the RV industry, with all my experience, has really shown me that everything comes with a push and a pull. For every benefit, there's a drawback. If you're trying to tow a little bitty little beauty like this one, you want something short, small, but you want it nice, with a big slide, it very quickly becomes kind of tricky to navigate the RV. Now, historically, it did not have a peninsula countertop. That's one of the things that really hurt this RV in the past, is it had very poor prep space, which is why it actually fell out of our lineup here at Haylett RV for a couple seasons, but obviously we see here that we brought it back, because now it's gained some prep space with a nice countertop extension. Now, I don't really mind that the countertop comes right up to the dinette right here, because the refrigerator and the pantry and the bathroom, frankly, are all still pretty much inaccessible. So you haven't lost anything in travel mode. What you've gained here is an RV that just works much, much better at its destination once that slide's open. But what makes this one excellent is not its travel function. Its purpose in traveling is to be small. Its purpose at its destination is to be awesome. And it provides that very well. Because this is basically as small as you can make an RV, as short as you can make an RV, while still providing a big U-dinette slide. And you're getting a sofa and a bed with Rockwood's Murphy bed system. And as you can see, they have like a very cinema sofa style setup right here. Pardon the alliteration. But these little recliner kickouts right here, this is something awesome that Rockwood started doing a couple years ago on their Murphy beds, and no one else has done it yet because it costs a couple bucks more. But the recurring trend with Rockwood is if it costs $2 but it's worth $5, they're going to do it. That's who this brand is. That's what makes them top of their game, basically. Now, what's cool is you still have like these swivel side stands, which are removable. You can kick those out of the way. But you also have a full side stand. Now, your side stands there, you can see have some outlets. So if you want to run phone chargers, CPAPs, lights, fans, etc., you can do all of that. But of course, the point of this floor plan is to kind of be like two RVs in one, with their one-piece, easy lift and lower Murphy bed system that really Rockwood perfected and other brands have pretty much copied. It's simple, quick, easy. Every year they've done little fine-tunings to this thing to really make it a one of the best Murphy bed systems out there. You could easily argue maybe the very best. I think Winnebago is the only other manufacturer that gives Rockwood's Murphy beds at all a run for their money. So this is a locking Murphy bed as well. That's what the little knob is down here. You have to pull that out to disengage the system, the lock, so that if it is down and you want to like sit up at the headboard, maybe you're reading a book, or you want to crawl up there to look out that front viewing window, you want to kind of maybe hear a funky sound at night, you want to see, is it a raccoon or is it a Russian sleeper spy coming to murder me? Hopefully not that, but I mean, you know, theoretically, technically possible. Moving on. The point is, you can do that without having your life in jeopardy by getting lawn chaired and dumped up into the front area of that thing. Now remember how I said you don't have to remove those side stands. They can swivel out of the way. You could. You just pull them right out if you want to, but you don't need to like mess with them. If it's time to go to bed at night, you just turn them out of the way, flip it up, you're good to go. Now you might have noticed I said over here there are power outlets on that side stand, but if you're really eagle-eyed, you might have noticed there's none over here, and you're going, dude, what gives? Come on, Rockwood. They thought of it. They're not dumb. They have headboard outlets up here, and they've expanded the size of that headboard so that it is very CPAP friendly, phone charge friendly, etc. That is one of the smartest little miniature updates that they applied to these Murphy bed models over the last couple years. What's also neat is the lights right there that you're seeing just above the bed. They have their own switches down here on that side stand next to those power outlets. So if you have this privacy curtain closed up front here, you can make sure that, you know, you have control over your own lights, and if somebody walks in and out of the main entry door and flicks the light switch, it's not going to blind you. Because when you get blinded by the light, is it just me, or do you always end up getting revved up like a deuce? You know, another runner in the night? Now that was an age test. If you have any idea what I was just referencing, leave me a little comment, because I'm really kind of curious to see how far into left field that one went. Full window in the entry door also. Very nice for giving you lots of visibility. You may have noticed how you have opposing breeze windows on either side of the sofa or the bed. Now, what's kind of cool here is you have a normal set of bedroom storage. You've got your individual drawers, you've got your hanging wardrobe closet right here. But what I call Rockwood doing Rockwood things, they're never satisfied with enough. They always do a little bit more. And if you're paying attention, you see how this extra pantry right here, it's actually mounted within the slide with the U-dinette. It's an extended dinette slide. And if you look a little bit closer, you see that these are removable shelves to give you extra hanging storage. And if you look a little bit closer, you notice how the back of that closet does not go to the back of that slide out. That's because there's outside storage behind that vertical pantry closet area right there. And Rockwood's awesome about making sure you can get to all of the storage easily. And that's kind of the trend as to what we're looking at here. This little camper has good living space, good kitchen space now that they've improved the kitchen, good storage space. Like I said, this is a 10 pounds of sugar and a 5-pound sack kind of camper. They give you drawers for easy access to the dinette, but you might be thinking, yeah, but what about that rear bench? You access it from the outside. If you wanted to, you could lift up the cushions in the base and you could get to it, but you don't have to here. Now, obviously, that table has an elliptical base and it is free floating, which is really neat. If you want to float it up front, use it as something of a coffee table. You could theoretically take it outside for picnic time. Full storage overhead in the slide out. It means a little bit smaller windows, but it means more storage. You know, this RV is small, already has good window coverage. I think more storage is always going to be the right answer here. And extra overhead slide storage is something that a lot of brands have cut out, and you can see Rockwood is still doing here. I think it's, again, one of those things that really separates them quite a bit. And then back by our 8 cubic foot fridge freezer, which is another thing this did not have the last time we filmed one of these. There have been 3 or 4 waves of updates. This is significantly updated since our last set of footage, by the way. But this has a 33% larger fridge since then. And then just like we saw in the slide out, the pantry by the fridge, also yet another hanging closet. So you have anywhere from 2 dedicated to up to 4 optional use hanging closets in this Rockwood. And I don't know of another little trailer that can match those kind of numbers. But when I don't have everything all kind of blown wide open, you can see how it gives it a nice, clean look and feel. And it's that dinette slide that really kind of separates this one from the 2109S. This is a sister to the 2109. They each do the things the other does not. Like, this is a big dinette slide that can sleep adults, and we'll see that in just a second. It's also a Murphy bed model, whereas the 2109S, you're like, listen, if I don't care about a dinette, I don't care about a Murphy bed, then you want to look at the 2109, not the 2104. Although, maybe you don't care about the Murphy bed, but you want a dinette. I think you should still look at this floor plan because you don't have to use the Murphy bed. You just kind of, quote, put the bed away when you're in transit. But not only does this sit more people easily, but it, because it is a big, what I call true U-dinette, it can fold down into an adult-sized guest sleeper. Now, what's cool about that is, even if it's a young adult, like when I was in 6th grade, I was just about 6 foot tall. I was a big grandkid. I would not fit on a conventional little bunk. But if my grandparents had something like this Rockwood from Lite RV, I would have been able to join them for a weekend and have a good time. We'll open the kitchen up in just a second because it is significantly improved. But a couple things up top here. Despite the tiny size of this camper, the short length, it still has dual ducted central air. And they give you full control over all of the ducting. It can turn, it can close. You can always have control over where all of the air goes in this RV. We will often, like what we're looking at today in this current version right here, I call this the premium package versus the essentials edition, and we like to outfit that with a larger 15,000 BTU air conditioner. You could argue maybe it's a little bit overkill. If you're looking for a little more simple basic, if you have a little bit more of a budget in mind, but you want the good quality construction of a Rockwood, that's where the essentials edition will come in, and we try to make the one very obvious from the other, with, like, you know, brown skin versus white skin, vastly different interior decor, but you can totally mix and match anything. If you like pieces and parts of all the different 2104 Rockwoods that we have here at Lite RV, we are happy to get one built for you within the manufacturer's specs. It just, you know, it has to be within their allowances. Now, This is something that they did that worked very well in the 2509S Murphy bed Rockwood Mini Lite. They moved the entertainment center. They put the TV over here. And at a glance, you're going, yeah, but I lost a cabinet. Remember all that extra pantry closet storage that we already saw? You didn't lose anything. Plus, the bathroom has its own storage, so it doesn't need to eat off of the living room stuff. But the fact is, now I've got a TV that directly faces the dinette, that directly faces the bed. It can pivot and face anyway. In fact, this TV, we'll talk about it later, can dismount and be remounted outside. So, I mean, it's really smart how they did this right here. Big kitchen breeze window, and I talked about this earlier. A vastly improved kitchen, counter, and cabinet area. It begins with the fact that they've converted this from a just flat against the wall sink and stove with no counter space into a very popular functional L-shaped peninsula countertop, which gives us more natural prep space anyway. You know, like previously, if you weren't using the sink and the stove, you had a little bit of prep space. Now, even if you're using the sink and the stove, you still always have prep space between the extra chunk right there by that window next to that pop-up power post, which has easy reach household and USB plugs, plus that countertop extension leaf that we saw just a minute ago. And they have, doing this allowed them to just significantly improve the drawer capacity within this floor plan. You see a pair of them there next to our all-in-one DVD, Bluetooth, HDMI, streaming stick-friendly stereo there, and your master control center with more outlets down below. But as we wrap around here, what you see is plywood drawers down to the floor. Now that top one's a little sink sponge drawer because it's right in front of the sink. It's not deep enough to have a true drawer, but the fact is they went from having like maybe you could argue one drawer to like 5 that are really good, really functional. This is a significantly improved floor plan. They had to add a little weight to do this. There's more counter space, more cabinet space now. I don't believe there's going to be anyone that will argue that this was not a better thing in the push-pull. There's a little bit of an exchange. Like I said, every benefit has a drawback, but I think overall it was the right decision. Now you can see how we have a ventless floor here, and actually all Mini Lites, they never have floor vents. They're always ducted heating, or pardon me, cabinet ducted heating. Like that's a heat duct right there, actually running under the shower pan. And that's a foot flush toilet, of course, but like I said, Rockwood has dedicated storage within their bathrooms so that your linen space, your shampoos, your body washes, you don't need to store them in like the kitchen pantry. And the bigger vent fan up here is something that Rockwood has been doing successfully for more years than I've been in this business, and they just never quit. A lot of other brands used to do it and quit. They have the little shower miser thing. That's under those little shower handles, there's a little switch right there so that if you are off-grid, you can make sure you're not wasting any of your fresh water supply. And then little things like that removable shower caddy so that you have a place to actually keep your body washes in the shower so they're not constantly falling off those joke of a plastic shelves where they don't fit anyway. And then little things like this. They said, we want a big sink because we are adults and we want to wash our adult hands in this thing. But that meant that there wasn't a whole lot of space for, things like your toothbrushes. So just Rockwood doing Rockwood things. They said, you know what? It's just plastic. It doesn't cost much. Let's include this extra little shelf up here so that people have a place for like their hand soaps and things like that. And again, it's just those little details that Rockwood does that just puts them over the top. One of the good things about Rockwood, they were the first ones to kind of crack this case. They still give you a pass-through storage compartment. It just actually zips under the sofa. That's why there's those side stands on either side of the sofa. And on both sides here, they kind of use these wraparound little, I call them side saddle pockets. They just don't waste any little nook and cranny, and God forbid you ever had to get to the Murphy bed mechanism. You just drop that little wall panel right there with those couple little set screws and you're good to go. You see that we do still have that side mount solar prep there, so if you're going to be off grid, you want to park in the shade, you want to have a portable panel to chase the sun, you can. Not only are they using the Moride stable steps, but they're also using what I call the 0G system that obviously does not need you to hold it up, because even at a really wicked perpendicular angle right there, it's still holding itself right out. And those things are awesome so that you don't drop the steps on your head or crush your grandkids or your poodle or whatever the case may be. You get the idea. very little in the previous generation has changed in the construction of this, and by very little I mean basically nothing. We're still an all aluminum skeleton product. That's one of the things that's been the backbone of Rockwood being the #1 selling laminated trailer out there for longer than I've even been in this industry, which is now approaching 11 years. The other thing, it's like they're very smart, not penny wise and pound foolish, you know? Like the slide awnings, that's something that they offer, and they offer them at a very fair price to help protect your RV and keep some sun off of it. Obviously, we're looking at that white skin upgrade right here, but as I've mentioned previously, there's a couple different ways that you can build this thing. But what I'm getting at is stuff like power tongue jack, tilt adjust awning with LED lighting, but 30-pound propane tanks instead of 20s, which you normally find in a lightweight little class. Things like including extra baggage doors on the faces of slide outs to make sure you can easily access every square inch of the storage that's in there, or cubic inch, I suppose would actually be a more accurate phrasing. Things like magnet holdbacks on any baggage door that they possibly can. Things like an all aluminum skeleton, even under the dinette. Any furniture basically even that Rockwood builds, any structure they build is going to be an all aluminum skeleton. So this is the back of that dinette that we talked about inside. You've got drawers to easily access the interior storage, but now you've got an open compartment back here that you can get to, and it looks really neat. Like, I've done this, and you can just walk up to a Rockwood, you can just thump all over this thing. And you can, because it's laminated, it's very solid. If an RV does not have a laminated rear wall, that doesn't mean it's a bad camper. It just means that it could have substandard slide walls, so you just need to investigate a little more. Typically, you're going to be fine. Of course, we're rear camera ready, but we're also all LED tail and marker lights. And you might notice, if we look down below, one of the more recent additions to the Mini Lite lineup is the standard inclusion of a 2-inch receiver hitch on the back, so that you can add things like bike racks without voiding the warranty on your Rockwood, because chances are you didn't look at a nicer, higher class trailer like a Rockwood with the idea of voiding your warranties. Now, a couple things over here, one of which you can see and one of which is less obvious before we jump up onto the roof. First is the outdoor grilling station has become an outdoor griddle station. If I get up a little bit closer here, you can see you've got one of these very, well, if we're all going to be honest with one another, we can all say that's a very Blackstone inspired griddle, but doesn't matter who inspired it. You've got a cool little outside propane griddle that hooks right up to a gas grill quick connect. And if you want a gas grill, you can still do some grilling, that's fine. The galvanized rolled steel utility shelf, if you will, is still present over here, and you do still have your outside TV hookup. So that TV bracket that we saw inside, you see how the mounting plate exactly matches what you saw inside out here. So this is it makes your indoor TV also an outdoor TV. Now, one of the other things, well, actually there's two. I forgot they added something else. First of all, 4-wheel independent suspension. This is not a leaf spring axle system. And what that means in English is that this is going to give you an just exceptionally good ride and handling, especially when you go around those really sharp corners really fast. RVs will tend to body roll. They want to roll if you drive too fast. This suspension system actively fights that to keep you flat, stable and level. Additionally, all Rockwood towable RVs, any travel trailer or fifth wheel, have a tire pressure monitoring system included on them standard now, and it actually comes with a color screen handheld monitor that you can use inside your vehicle. Now, these have had enclosed underbellies, but a big shift in the Rockwood paradigm is these now have an enclosed heated belly with a radiant barrier to drastically improve your effectiveness in of course in cold climates, but think about what that's going to do for you in hot climates, so that your air conditioner is not bleeding through the floor as well, since cold air falls down. So this is a huge climate guard improvement down here. And from bottom to top, we jump up here, and at a glance it looks about like any other travel trailer. But one of the interesting sort of things I've always noticed about Rockwood RVs, like over here we have a Freedom Express in the background, you can see some Grey Wolves or Jaycos or whatever. They all have very walkable roofs. But there's something about the way Rockwood does their laminated roofing. I call it zero flex roofing, because it does not flex whatsoever. A little bit of roof flex doesn't bother me. In fact, you could say that there's at times when that's not a bad thing, but this is like the most sturdy, stable, feeling roof of pretty much any RV I've ever been on. And Rockwood's been that way for years. They just, I don't know, they're just good. They're just good at what they do. It's funny, like Rockwood's the #1 selling laminated lightweight trailer. They're the #1 selling folding tent camper. Rockwood's basically the #1 at any category in which they compete. And that's been true for a long time. They're just very good. We talked inside about how that is an optional 15,000 BTU air, but it doesn't really change the size. There's nothing visually outside that you see the difference. And the Wi-Fi Ranger giving us easier access to mobile data sources. It is, in its base form, effectively just a router built into your camper. You can just turn it on and off if you want to, but it can be upgraded to be like more LTE mobile friendly as well. Plus, back here you see the factory installed MaxxAir vent cover over that big bathroom fan, so that it is now covered under Rockwood's warranty. You're not worrying about, like, you could add those aftermarket to anything out here, but now you don't have to, and now it's factory guaranteed. And it's little differences like that. Remember when I said when we were still at ground level, Rockwood's very good about doing the little things and not necessarily just being so penny pinching about it. That's just who they are, and that's what they do. They're very good at what they do. And I mean, the word best is very subjective, but in terms of success, they're the most successful producer of laminated trailers ever. So if you like what you see there, all I ask in return for our efforts here today is you give our team here at Haylett RV a call. We only do everything with the exception of hidden dealer fees. We don't do that, but hitching pieces, parts, trades, finance, truck and trailer package deals, RV delivery, and everything else in between, that we do. So take care. Stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.